Hi guys, today we are doing this Valentine's Day look together. I will be sharing valuable tips that I learned as a makeup artist throughout this whole video, so I'm sure that by the end of the tutorial you will have learned a few new tips and tricks about makeup. If you want to learn how to do your makeup like this, grab your brushes and do it together with me. As always, I'm prepping the skin really well. I've already cleansed my skin to remove any blackheads, dead skin cells, and dust from my face, and here I'm using a calming toner from Numbuzin just to balance my skin's pH, and then I'm going in with the Mixun Bean Essence to hydrate. My skin is dry most of the time, so this essence always saves me and nourishes my face properly. By the way, I will add all the products I've used here to my Amazon storefront and add the link in the description. The next step for me is setting the brows in place. I'm using the Sephora Collection Fluff and Fix Brow Wax, loading the brows with product first, after which I'm brushing them up while still pressing lightly on the skin, and then shaping them slightly by moving the brush to the outer part of my brows. It's very important to do this while the wax is almost completely dry so they stay in place, and then for extra hold you can press on the brows slightly. Then I always like to correct my brows using concealer because I feel like it makes them more defined and gives me a guide for filling in my brows. Use a shade of concealer that is similar to your skin tone so it's easier for you to blend in with your foundation later. If you use a lighter shade, it's just going to make your job harder and you probably won't have a seamless blend. I'm going to fill in my brows slightly with a fine tip brow marker. I'm doing tiny strokes just by touching my skin lightly and flicking the pen up. Don't apply too much pressure here, but actually the best tip I have for you is just to practice. Drawing hairs will give you a more natural look, but of course you can fill them in depending on your liking. I'm going to do my face next because the essence has already absorbed into my skin, and also because I don't want to do anything heavy on my eyes today since we are going to do a red lip. I apply the fixing spray from Tear just to prep my skin. I'm using the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation in the shade NC15, and then I also mixed in a lighter shade of concealer just to lighten it up a bit and blending everything in with a dense brush. I like using a brush as opposed to a beauty blender because I feel like it's easier for me to blend it in and I also get a lot more coverage. However, I do like to go over it with a damp beauty blender at the end just to blend a little bit more, and using these two together will make your job so much easier and give you a perfect blend. Now it's time to do a little cream contour and blush, and I'm using this one from Shein and applying it on the back of my hand, and I'm going to apply it in a tapping motion. It's very important to tap instead of blend in circular motions because doing circular motions will risk dragging your foundation and create patches. We're going to use the brush and the beauty blender again to blend and make our job easier once again and more seamless. I like to use the same contour for my nose, and I'm just dragging two parallel lines on the middle of my nose and then above my eyes and underneath my nose. This step is definitely optional, and I like to have a bit of color on my nose, but it can be difficult to contour your nose since every nose is different. Let me know if you would like an in-depth tutorial on this. Next, it's time for blush, and I'm doing the same thing with my blush as I did with my contour, but here I'm mixing two colors together. I really like mixing two shades together lately, applying them first on my hand and then above my cheeks, and I'm going all the way up to my temples and applying slightly on my eye area as well, just to blend it in even more. Then we are going to apply concealer after contour and blush, so in case you apply too much blush or go way up, it's going to be that much easier for you to cover it up. This simple trick will help you so much if you're having trouble applying the right amount of blush. Leave it to dry just a little bit before blending it in with a beauty blender. I've also applied a bit of concealer underneath my cheeks just to lift them up a bit. I chose a beauty blender this time because my concealer is a bit on the drier side, but if you have a hydrating formula that is lighter and more liquid, then a blending brush will be perfect to blend in your concealer. I apply my powder straight away to set everything in place, and I feel like this step makes such a difference in the way my whole face makeup looks. Always make sure to blot a bit of the powder away on the back of your hand before applying it to your face to avoid a cakey look. Next, I'm going to set the contour with some powder, and I'm just applying this using a wider brush exactly where my contour was placed. Now with powders, unlike creams, it's actually okay to work in circular motions because it's easier to blend. However, make sure to apply very light pressure because you are risking dragging your foundation if you put more pressure on the brush. A tip to control how much pressure you put on your brushes is to hold your pinky finger up in the air while using them. I'm also redoing some of the contour shades on my nose, but this time I'm using a smaller blending brush. Now it's finally time for the star of this whole look, the red lips. If you're afraid of red lips, then I'm going to teach you how to create the perfect shape. Using a brown lip liner, you're going to find the highest points of your cupid's bow and mark two dots. Next, find the lower point and mark another dot. Connect all the dots together and then connect to the corner of your lips as well. Make sure not to overline the corners of your lips and try to keep these lines as straight as possible. Do the same thing for your bottom lip. Find the lowest part of your bottom lip and make a dot that will help guide you in connecting the corners. Once you've lined the lips, blend the brown in using a brush, and then it's time for your favorite red lipstick. Try to go slightly over the brown pencil, but don't overdo it. Now it's time for the finishing touches on my eyes. I applied a little bit of brown shadow underneath my eyes and lined the top of my lashes slightly with an eyeliner, after which I'm applying mascara. I love the difference mascara makes, so I never skip it, but for this look, I didn't feel like I needed any lashes. Then it's time for the most important step, correcting the lips with concealer. This is the step that's going to make your lips look 10 times better and more defined. Trust me on this. artist. Use your foundation or a shade of concealer that matches your skin tone, and with a flat brush, make small strokes to define. Finally, blend those lines in slightly and you will have created the perfect red lips. I added a touch of red lip oil because I wanted them to be a little extra, but you can stick to the matte look if you prefer. And we are all done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned a few tricks along the way. Your comments always help me, so don't hesitate to let me know what you would like to see next and if you have any questions. Bye!